third part for Entertainment's War on Family Values. All right. We'll first start off with the Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. All right, and the translation for that is, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise and thanks is due to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the world, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship, thine aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and who go not astray. All right. This is my YouTube page and my BitChute page, where for YouTube we have over 170 videos on there, and on BitChute there's a number of videos there, and also daily worship. So if you want to check out any of the other presentations that I've done, you can see them there. All right, so we're going to get right to it. I was going to have some warm-ups, but I think we're going to jump right to it because of time restraints. All right. First thing I want you to see is this. All right.
The Ash experiment is one of psychology's oldest and most popular pieces of research. A volunteer is told that he's taking part in a visual perception test. What he doesn't know is that the other participants are actors, and he's the only person taking part in the real test, which is actually about group conformity.
The experiment you will be taking part in today involves the perception of line length. Your task will be simply to look at the line here on the left and indicate which of the three lines on the right is equal to it in length. So for example,
the actors have been told to match the wrong lines. The volunteer will be monitored to see if he gives the correct answer or if he goes along with the opinion of the group and gives the wrong answer. In the first test, the correct answer is 2.
1. 1. 1.
2.
1. Once again, the correct answer is 2.
3. 3. 3.
So you can see he could clearly see that the one that matched was 2, but yet to fit in with the group, he said it was, he agreed with the others. All right.
3.
3.
The Ash experiment has been repeated many times, and the results have been supported again and again. We will conform to the group. Again, we're very social creatures. We're very much aware of what the people around us think. We want to be liked. We don't want to be seen to rock the boat, so we will go along with the group. Even if we don't believe what people are saying, we'll still go along.
1. 1. 1. 1.
Group dynamics is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology.
1. 1.
All right. So this is conformity. So people just want to agree, even though they see it's not real or true, they'll conform to the group. But let's look and see what conformity is. Conform is a verb, to act according to or be obedient to a rule or norm, usually followed by to be in harmony or accord. So a lot of times people go along with the group just to fit in. All right. If you want, sister, you can come up some. You all right? All right. Okay. Here we go. So let's move on. All right. This is a man by the name of Edward Bernays. He's the father of propaganda. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. In almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind. So, they have been studying the human mind for a very long time. This goes back years and years, all right? And the thing is, they study the human minds in order for them to find the ways to best manipulate us, all right? And that's Edward Bernays. They call him the father of propaganda. Let's move on. Let me ask you this, because I asked one of my students at school, who is the greatest of all the prophets and why? Anybody want to take that from me? Sister, who do you think is the greatest of all the prophets and why? I'm gonna pick on you a little bit because you're my only sorry. There's no right or wrong answer.
I
Just
would say, I was gonna say King Solomon or Yusuf.
Oh wow. Okay. So Yusuf or Prophet Suleiman. Okay. Why? Why would you say? What is it about their stories that intrigues you?
Well, with King Solomon, I see his impact today, and in his time when he asked not just for, he didn't want riches and those things. He wanted wisdom and the ability to know how to best govern what he was bestowed upon. And he ruled over a unified Israel, and the tribes were united. And that kind of was a very honest, I don't know, it's like a very honest time. And looking back to what's happening now, where Israel is split, Palestine and Israel is split, it trickles back to his ruling for me, and how the tribes had to, they by like Allah ordained for this split to happen upon his death.
Okay.
You know, so I think that that's very powerful, because many people in this time for me, in the entertainment industry and stuff like that, they glorify that lifestyle of having many women and power and gold and like endless materialism that in their minds brings us a level of peace and kinghood. Okay. But we see this model with him and how it kind of ended up, you know, how it transpired. Right. And because I see history as we're not in 2024, we're then.
Okay, well, we're going to look at some things, but I'm actually a school teacher in the public school system, and we've been having Ramadan sessions with the kids, so we pray, and then I do a little talk with them. So I asked them who was the greatest prophet of all time, and you know, and why they told me it was, who do you think they said it was?
Prophet Muhammad.
Prophet Muhammad. All
Sorry
right.
about that.
No, it's fine. Yeah. But let's look and see what Allah says, or tells us in the Quran. All right. So in the Quran, Allah says, "You believers say, we believe in Allah, and then what was sent down to us, and what was sent down to Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Yaqub, and the tribes, and what was given to Moses or Musa and Jesus or Isa, and all the prophets by their Lord. We make no distinction between them, and we devote ourselves to Him." So in other words, Allah tells us to treat them equally.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they're all of one brotherhood, and we're not to raise one above the other. All right? When we look at it more, the word distinction, we look at the definition, because words words are very important, so we will make sure we know the definition of words. So distinction, the act of perceiving someone or something as being not the same and often treating as separate or different. The distinguishing of a difference. So Allah doesn't want us to look at them differently. We want them to look at them all the same. All right? Yes. So one of the kids at school, he asked me, this little boy, he was determined to get an answer from me. He said, Mr. Abdul, are you a Salafi? All right? And I said, I'm a Muslim. And he asked me again, are you a Salafi? I said, no, I'm a Muslim. So let's look at what the Quran tells us. It says, in the Quran, we are commanded not to divide ourselves into sects. Thus, dividing our religion into sects is against Allah's command. Those who divide into sects are termed as idol worshippers and not members of Allah's religion. Those who divide themselves into sects do not belong with you. Their judgment rests with Allah. Then He will inform them of everything that they had done. So, we'll never see improvement in the Muslim community until we stop the division. Because we have so many different sects. But Allah has instructed us not to break into sects. Go ahead.
So when you say sects, are you going back to Sunni versus Shia?
Those are sects.
Yes.
Now let me show you. All right. So let's really look at it. All right. So this is it. The verse again. All right. Different translation, but basically saying, as for those who divide their religion and break up into sects, thou hast no part in them in the least. This is what Allah is saying to us. Because the division is what's destroying our ummah. Right? Their affair is with Allah. He will, in the end, tell them the truth of all that they did. So we're supposed to work together and let Allah decide between us on the day of judgment. Okay? What is a sect? All right? So a sect is a group of people that has separated from a larger group and has a particular set of religious or political beliefs. All right? And this is what's wrong with our community now. It's too much division. It's too much division. And we're not following the instruction from Allah, the prescription that Allah has given us. All right? And also, this is Quran chapter 22, Surah Hajj, verse 78. And strive for Allah with the striving due to Him. He has chosen you and has not placed upon you in the religion any difficulty. It is the religion of your father, Abraham or Ibrahim. Allah named you Muslims before in former scriptures and in this revelation, that the messenger may be a witness over you and you may be witnesses over the people. So establish prayer and give zakat and hold fast to Allah. He is your protector, and excellent is the protector, and excellent is the helper. All right. Here it is again with another different translation. And strive in His cause as ye ought to strive, with sincerity and under discipline. He has chosen you and has imposed no difficulties on you in religion. It is the cult of your father Abraham, or Ibrahim. It is He who has named you Muslims. All right? Both before and in this revelation, that the messenger may be a witness for you and ye be witnesses for mankind. So establish regular prayer, give regular charity, and hold fast to Allah. He is your protector, the best to protect and the best to help. All right? So Allah has named us Muslims. And that's it. Nothing else. Only Muslims. All right? And if we all started looking at it as us just being Muslims, that will help to bring unity to the community. Okay? All right. So I want you to see this, because a lot of times things are dictated to us. All right? But let me show you what's going on. All right? This is in Saudi Arabia. It says Saudi Arabia celebrates Halloween.
Saudi Arabia celebrated Halloween in Riyadh, which was once banned in the country. You can see people have come with costumes on the road, people are enjoying, people are celebrating it, people are trying to look scary, and they have dressed up in many different ways like the Western Halloween parties. Growing up in Saudi Arabia, the 221-year-old man had never celebrated Halloween, which was variously viewed as a suspiciously pagan foreign holiday, or as sinful, unnecessary, and weird in the conservative Islamic kingdom. As recently as 2018, the police raided a Halloween party and arrested people, sending costumed women clamoring to cover up and escape. But this year, parts of Riyadh, the Saudi capital, looked like creatures from a haunted house had escaped and taken over the city. Monsters, witches, bank robbers, and even sultry French maids were everywhere, leaning out of car windows and lounging in cafes. The scene was stark and a slightly spine-chilling sign of the changes that have torn through Saudi Arabia since Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, now heir to the throne and Prime Minister, began.
What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Horrible. There's no way that this should be going on. Okay? Go ahead. You have a question.
When I look at that, I think about that as entertainment. And how the kingdom under this group opens themselves up to entertainment and Western entertainment.
Oh, I love it. Because back
then, even if it was the time of like Osama bin Laden, two different worlds.
Right.
And that rule, they don't play this entertainment thing.
So now we're going to talk about entertainment. Because what do you think about entertainment? You see things as just entertainment?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. I'm doing that. All right. So let's move on. All right. Because I have a lot of material and I want to get to a lot of it. All right. So let me see. All right. So here's another thing that's going on in Saudi.
بإذن الله في أن نضع للمرأة مكانتها اللائقة التي وضعها الشرع واعتبرها ولاة الأمر حفظهم الله ونحن كذلك مع ولاة أمرنا ومع مسيرة دولتنا في
This guy is saying he's supporting the vision, the new Saudi vision for the youth and the women. All right.
الآن 90% من منسوبي الرئاسة شباب.
And he said 90% of the presidents whose members are. So this is nonsense. And really, these concerts is just like idols. The performers are living, breathing idols. Back in the day, what happened? They would make idols of stone and wood, and they would worship them. But it's the same thing that's going on. Only thing that they have living, breathing idols. Okay? And these people, they go to these concerts, and they're so filled with emotion, they're passing out. You know, they're screaming and doing all these things. Do they do that for Allah? No. So these are idols. Okay, living, breathing idols. Okay. Now, this one I want you to see, and I want you to see most of this because it's very interesting and it really plays into what we're going to get into in a second. All right. Oh, not that yet. Let's go here.
So it's Friday night in Saudi Arabia, and I'm about to head into what's basically a gigantic rave in the desert.
This is Saudi Arabia.
It's called Middle East. It's a 4-day electronic music festival that Saudi Arabia is hosting, and
the name is very important. They call it the Middle Beast. Oh, wow. The Middle Beast. Okay? And it's a 4-day event.
it's not only officially sanctioned by the government,
Sanctioned by the government.
It's actually a key part of the Crown Prince's plans to both expand entertainment options in foreign tourists, and of course to boost Saudi Arabia's soft power. So this event is honestly huge. Last night was the first night, and according to organizers, over 180,000 people attended. So if that's true, that would make it essentially bigger than the single-day attendance for a festival like Coachella. The headliners include sort of all the international artists that you might expect to see at an electronic music festival anywhere else in the world. There's David Guetta, there's Tiesto, Steve Aoki, and some Middle Eastern and Saudi artists as well.
Representation is important, and it feels so different when you look up at the stage and you see people that look like you played to you. Yeah. And for me, that was the first Middle East.
And look at his eyes.
Yeah.
Okay. Makeup. All right.
After every set, I would go back and cry.
He said after every set, he would go back and cry because it was so beautiful. You don't gotta go abroad now. You stay right here in this country and get this.
Did you ever imagine that you would like see something like this in your country?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Because I understood that we are a developing country. You know, so we have to go through phases. Allow us progress. Allow us to represent ourselves in the way that we feel fit. We are very eager to be part of the international community, but we can't be stifled every time we try to make progress.
It's honestly really difficult to fathom how.
And it's funny, this guy, the shirt that he has on, is from a brick and mortar show. All right? And that's very popular among the kids. And in that show, they push all sorts of decadent behavior, all sorts of decadent thoughts. They even push atheism, okay? Because there's a lot of times in that show where they talk about disrespecting God, okay?
Rashid, is it possible to move that up so that you can see the writing, or should the screen be moved back or something, or push?
See, I don't want to play with it too much because it might. Okay. I don't want to. He set up the sound a little bit so that it can.
All right. However you see fit.
It's saying the battery's dying.
Oh no, it's okay. It's plugged in.
Oh, okay.
I think you have to come back.
No, he said to see the words.
Right.
Yeah,
you have to go in.
No, you gotta
pull back. Oh, you're talking about the words at the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep, gotcha. All right. All right. Okay. Wow. All right, let me see something. So the thing I feared happened.
Oh, the sound.
The sound. See, I'm gonna play it and see if I can.
It was really one of the most conservative and restrictive countries in the world at the time. Women couldn't drive. There was a huge amount of gender segregation that was very strictly enforced by religious police who would kind of roam the streets, shouting at women like me to cover their hair or to wear, all black instead of colors. And from that kind of environment, the Crown Prince has instituted a series of enormous social policy changes that have really, along with a lot of bottom-up movements, changed kind of the way that the kingdom is, what it's like to be here, what it's like to live here, what it's like to be a Saudi. So to see, men and women dancing side by side, to see music in public in a country where there was almost no music in public just a few years ago, is really something unprecedented.
وكنت تتوقع يعني قبل 5 سنوات مثلا تشوفي شيء؟ لا طبعا مستحيل كان، بس اللي حاصل صراحة شيء خارج الخيال يعني.
One of the other things that's also really interesting about this festival is we tend to see some degree of open kind of display of queer culture, which is very unusual here because, again, homosexuality is illegal. And very much a taboo. And it's almost like this carnival atmosphere of the festival brings that out. Of course, this is absolutely not without controversy of many different kinds. I mean, first of all, many Saudis are not happy with these kinds of changes, though many are as well. And there is, as you can see by the number of people who are attending, there is a lot of support for events like this. But some people don't feel comfortable with it. They feel like it's a violation of their traditions and their religion. However, there's almost no open expression of those kinds of views because there's been, alongside the social opening that the Crown Prince has been implementing, a massive political crackdown. And so it's very little space to express dissenting views in Saudi Arabia of today. That is part of the reason why a lot of the influencers and models who attend festivals like this get a lot of backlash.
So it's 1 a.m. and I'm heading out. That was a pretty crazy party. One of the things that's kind of interesting is that even though alcohol and, of course, any kind of drugs are still very much illegal here, there were a lot of people who were, pretty visibly inebriated. You can smell marijuana in some places. So definitely this is the kind of event where things really get taken to the edge of the possibility of what could be in the new Saudi Arabia. Though it was pretty heavily male. There were definitely women, but I'd say definitely a vast majority of the people who were attending were male, which makes sense in a society that is still in a lot of ways quite conservative, and also a lot of women don't necessarily feel comfortable in a space like that. That's pretty rowdy, pretty heavily male, in a society where people are still kind of getting used to even the idea of gender mixing. It's still pretty new, so it is just a really kind of rapid and deep-seated transformation.
What do y'all think? This is the center of, basically, we've always looked at it as the center of Islam.
Yeah.
This is the place that holds the Kaaba, the Prophet's mosque. Okay? What do y'all think? Go ahead, sister.
It's several layers to how I feel about the situation. One, I would just kind of question which version of Arabia are they returning to? Is it pre-Islamic Arabia that they're returning to? Secondly, I would say a lot of people come out of Arabia as on tourist visas to the Western world, and when they come back to their land, they have been exposed to the West and being here.
But now, not just that. You got to remember the internet.
Yeah.
You got to remember television.
Yeah.
Goes across the world like that in an instant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't blame the people.
Right.
I don't blame those that are at the concerts because that's just them expressing something that they could have kept inside for so long. But the government isn't standing by what they in place.
But see, now what we have to remember is when we leave this earth, we have to answer for our actions, what we do. Okay. Oh, go ahead, sister. You want?
So I lived in the East for a couple months, and the way they interpret Western culture, not only is it a bit dated, but they hold it in very high regard.
Right.
Like, they believe that American culture reigns supreme over their own. So in their eyes, what they see themselves doing is something that is cool and expressive. And what's your name again?
Shakandi Rose.
I'm sorry.
Shakandi Rose.
Shakandi Rose. What I think she was saying was they have been suppressed for many years, especially like the women and the men as well. And queer society, like Islam doesn't really answer to that, even though many older people see it as something that is just trivial. A lot of younger people are coming up, they're being exposed to this culture of queerness and not really knowing how to measure it up with what their parents taught them. So they don't have anything to answer for it. So they just go to things like this as a way to express themselves.
Now, very interesting that you said that, because what I see happening is we are not passing on our values and traditions to our kids.
Yeah, it's become more like the parents are beating it into them, and that doesn't have a good response in certain generations. Like, these generations now, they communicate completely different. They receive things completely different than you all's communication, you all's generation has in the past. So they don't respond to it the same.
So now, here we go. Malcolm X once said, when you put the education of your children in the hands of your enemy, your children will become your enemy. Okay? Very powerful statement. I know this because I've been talking to my students at school, because we have prayer at school during Ramadan. So I've been, we do the prayer, and then I have little talks with them. Okay? and the kids, they don't know. They don't know Islam. They're not being taught Islam. They spend more time with the technology and social media and all that stuff than they do with their parents. So what is actually becoming the teachers of our students? Of our kids. Right? It's the media. It's the entertainment world. All right? And they're setting the values and morals for our children. But we're going to get into this heavier. All right? So let me stop this here.
Can I ask one last question?
Go ahead. Because
sometimes in the world we see things happen because it's been a secret life that existed. Now we're seeing a lot of these things broadcasted. Do you think these things were the under the current society in Arabia? Because people don't have everyday access to Arabia until now. Do you think these things were a part of, like, still going on, but it was so kept hidden back in those for years, for centuries, you know, and now people are finally exposing it or having more light inside of what goes on in Arabia?
The thing is that you hit the key word when you said exposure. Okay? People are being exposed to a lot of things that they never was exposed to before. Okay? There may have been some things, trickles of homosexuality or whatever, all right? But to this magnitude where they are, what's another name for a television show? I'll give you that. What do you think is another name for a television show?
Wasn't it the program?
You hit it. Hit it right on the head. A program, a television program. So they're programming different ideas and beliefs into the people in society. Okay? Go ahead.
But I do want to bring a little bit more light to that, because a lot of things, especially like with the queerness, that's not really being programmed. That was already there. People don't talk about it. Like, there's a lot of, being honest, there's a lot of older males who molest boys, like, and we don't think about it because, you know, we think we put them on a pedestal. Like, we put places like the Middle East and Saudi and Dubai and all of them on a pedestal, but they still very much so having to deal with molestation, pedophilia. Like, they deal with that. Like, TikTok is a melting pot of information. Like, you see ceremonies that it's just like all boy parties, and you can tell all the boys there are gay, and they're not all young. They're older. Some of them are even older, and some of them are here. So it's not really much that they've been programmed. It's just that certain things are not really talked about. They don't believe in counseling. They don't believe in, you know, trauma response. They don't really have a part of that built into their culture. So there's nothing to really answer for it. You know what I mean?
It's interesting because let's say a little over 50 years ago, homosexuality was seen as a mental illness. Okay? But now what they do is they flood it over and over through the programming. Okay? I'll show you just how much this programming works. Yeah, there's people, because Shaitan is everywhere.
Right.
Okay? His whispers are everywhere, all throughout the world. Okay? So the thing is that these people are trying to normalize things.
Right.
Make it seem as if it's okay. They had a television show called The New Normal.
Right.
And The New Normal was about what? Homosexuality. They had a television show called Modern Family. They're telling you what the modern day family is. Okay, so they're programming you to accept these ideas, and they're normalizing it through repetition, over and over and over again. You hear it in the music, you see it on the television shows, it's everywhere. Okay, so they're pushing, they're like I said, they're normalizing it through their program. I'm telling you, they have studied how the human brain works for years. And that's something I was showing people earlier, was conformity. Okay? And this is the game that they play. But now, because they study the human brain because they want to know best how to manipulate us. Okay? Let's move on. All right? Because we're going to have an interesting discussion. Lord. I love it. All right? So now, this is some of the stuff that started happening in Saudi Arabia.
Hello and and welcome to my daily disaster news channel.
The information in the video shows news that in Mecca, Saudi Arabia.
الآن الساعة الآن 6:30. شوف السيارات. شوف السيارات.
Go ahead, good brother.
I was there when he had the flood.
So you said?
I was there.
Oh, you was there when it happened?
I was there.
Wow.
And the tent collapsed. So many people got drowned on the bus.
On the bus?
The bus flipped over.
Wow.
Took us about 2 or 3 hours to get up out of there. The water came up this far up to Mount, almost to Mount Lake. I walked through the water.
And Allah sends us warnings. Okay? He sends us warnings.
Yes.
A fierce storm struck Mecca, Saudi Arabia, bringing with it strong wind that knocked people off their feet and caused chaos across the city.
This shows you that the life of this world is nothing. It can be taken out of here just like that. Yes. Because in one of the first thing that I did here, I showed the magnificence of Allah. And it's beyond, Allah is beyond our imagination. Okay? And the thing is that we have to answer to Allah for how we live our life here on this earth. The life of this world is not about what other people do, it's about what you do. Because you're judged for your actions, not anybody else. Okay? So the thing is that we have to adhere to what Allah tells us in the Quran. It's the greatest protection that we could ever have.
And not only that, and we know it's the work of the shaitan as Muslim. And the shaitan said, I'm going to come in the front, behind you, and beside you. And that's what you're seeing today.
Absolutely. From all directions.
That's what it's very clear.
So you know, shaitan is doing his thing. And he's very deceptive. And the thing is that I tell people, this is not man's system. This is shaitan's system. And he's whispering to the hearts and minds of men because he wants to sever, not only misguide us from the path of Allah, he wants to sever the relationship between us and Allah. So it's very, very deep what's going on. All right? But I think y'all the gist of that, because I got so much information, I gotta move on. All right? But I wanted you to see that. But now, this is after that happened. They have a concert with Iggy Azalea there. Okay? But listen to what she's saying. All right? So she's over there and she's singing a song of hers called Goddess. Okay? Goddess.
Oh, Goddess.
Uh-huh. Like she's a goddess. All right. And it said, which social media use, some social media users describe as sacrilegious. And disrespectful to the religious beliefs of the country. I got to go back for you so you can see it hear the lyric.
Preaching about progress, it ain't no one man to stop us.
Bow down to the goddess.
Bow down to a goddess. It ain't no one man to stop us.
So she aimed it at the prophet. Ain't no one man can stop us. I'm a goddess. Bow down to a goddess. Telling people to bow down to her. Okay? So she had a wardrobe malfunction, and they're saying that they shut the show down because of that. But she's saying that wasn't real. it really stopped the concert is because her message of female empowerment. Okay? She said, I did, but I also said, ladies make some noise. It's a woman's world. And apparently that sent the authorities over the edge. LOL. I'm cool. I just didn't want the fans to be sad or angry at the show organizers because it wasn't their control of mine. It was the police at the side of the stage. All right? And if you look at how they're dressed so provocative. Okay? So, what y'all think about that?
What I found striking was this theme of female empowerment that apparently is being pushed there. It was pushed in this country. And I think it's misguided because I've said before, lots of programs for the girls in this country, especially those in the lower income brackets, right? But very little is established to feed into the boys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're seeing some of what's going on by design. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It deeply annoyed me because one, it's like she's always late. First off, it looks like a Beyonce performance, but just her as a white woman.
No feel Beyonce.
Because Beyonce had that "Who Run the World" song years ago. Now she has this, but that's not really the thing that got on my nerves. Honestly, it's this misguidance about women empowerment, but it's an anti-men. A hatred of men, a hatred. It's like a combating of men. It's like a wounded woman. It's like a disempowerment of men to make them so broken down that it's like we are entitled to all that you have, and that's not the truth of the balance of the universe at all. That's not empowerment. That's the program, but that's why we see sex working so promoted in this world, because they don't want any type of true union. That's not like that, making women feel so against men and making them so, we don't need you, you oppress us. Every man is not oppressive.
It's division.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's
this is what they're trying to cause, division. All right, so we're going to move. Let me let the sister, because the sister has something to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's divisive division. It's program division. So what's happening is the media, they uplift people. We were talking about this yesterday. They know the artists to uplift that have certain messages. Beyonce really started this. That's why I don't listen to her music. I don't really play her in my house. I don't play no music, but I certainly really don't play hers because she presents this idea of a woman who is supposedly like reigning supreme over pretty much the entire world. And in her eyes, men are like her servants. You know what I mean? They're her minions in a way. So even her whole concert, it was just all men. Like she usually has women, but now it's going to all men. But in a way, I was also going to say, Shaitan knows how to play on people's like wounds and their pain. So it's a response to women being oppressed for years, because we have been. Like it's a genuine thing. That's why it feels so natural. It feels right, because it really is an actual problem that a lot of women, even in Islam, have been facing, being oppressed and not having a voice to be seen as someone that is, important and,
Okay.
human being.
We're definitely going to get into this, all right? And so we might not make it. But let me move on because I want to show you some other things, okay? But now, and the point that you made, it's about repetition. So you got Beyonce saying it, you got her saying it, and you have others saying it. All right, that's what they want.
But I was just going to say, to end that off, what needs to happen is we need to see a more positive, not a toxic representation of women who are empowered in the right ways, for the right reasons to add the balance to the man. So that's why that's why I like that I'm Muslim. I get to represent a woman who is working on that road to being balanced, to being a counterpart to a man, and not being suppressed, and not putting herself above a man, because we're not above each other.
Right. Well, this is the key. Allah tells you that men and women are equal.
Yeah.
The difference is in the roles that you play.
Right.
Okay? Our bodies were designed in certain ways to accomplish certain things. Okay? But let me move on because I don't want to I don't have that much time. So I want you to see this. Now, I listen to everybody. I listen to the singers because I want to hear what they got to say. I want to hear what the plan is. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, that guy sing. I ain't listening to him." No, you want to listen because you want to hear what their plan is, what they're saying. So much information to show y'all, but I need y'all. I pulled this. This is later on in the presentation, but I had to bring it up so that you can see this. All right, because I knew I didn't have that much time. So here we go. Listen to this. This is a guy named Nicholas Schreck. He's a popular Satanist. He's with the daughter of a man named Anton LaVey. All right, but listen to what they're saying.
We are in control. We are in control because basically we are not a political organization. We are an occult organization. We're working behind the scenes to manipulate the way that people think. The war that we are waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind.
A guerrilla war on the human mind. Okay.
And we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. And symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. What we're waging is a cultural war right now on every front, in music, in literature, utilizing the media against itself.
You hear what this man is saying.
Yes.
Okay? Here we go.
We're using music because that's the instrument that young people respond to right now. We're doing propaganda directly to awaken the wolf.
To awaken the wolf. To awaken the wolf.
In man. We are in control, and symbolism and imagery to awaken the wolf in man right now. We're doing propaganda directly to awaken the wolf in man. We are in control, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. Politics is merely the puppet show of human beings, and we transcend that, but we are interested in the control of human beings for our own purposes. We are in control, and the wolf represents the beast in man.
The wolf represents the beast in man. All right? Hear this man. Hear what he's saying, y'all. Woo!
And that's what we seek to unleash in humanity because it's been repressed and tamed by Judeo-Christian values, and that above all is what we seek to eradicate. The wolf should be unleashed, destroying everything that Judeo-Christianity has succored and kept alive. We have no concern for the homeless, particularly. We don't have any concern in helping people. As Adolf Hitler said, we seek to bring about a youth that has closed its heart to pity. All of the humanist values.
Want the youth to close their to pity. They want an uncaring youth, and this is what they're getting.
They got it.
Because of the programming that they're doing, right?
Values that Judeo-Christianity has encouraged, we want to wipe them out. It's led to democracy, social humanism, the idea of equality. All of this filth has to be wiped out if the human race is going to continue to take the next step in evolution. End of the old order, and end of the old world, and the beginning of a new order.
And they hint to you that what they're trying to do. All you have to do is look on the back of your dollar bill. Novus Ordo Seclorum, new order of the world, a new world order. Okay? But here we go. Now, before I ask you for your reactions to that, I want to show you one more thing. This is the monster drink. Okay? Those, it's supposed to be like monster claws. But what it really is the number 6 in Hebrew. So it's 3 scratches. 666. All right? And what is the motto of it? Unleash the beast. Unleash the beast. Just what this man said he was trying to do. Unleash the beast. So there's a lot of subliminal stuff that they do too. All right? All right, some reactions. Here we go. Let's get some reactions. Oh, I think she's ready. Look at her hand like, go ahead. Go ahead, sister.
When he's speaking of his alchemy, that when he's saying unleash the beast, like what he's saying is so many things that's just, it shows you exactly why the world is the way it is. It's no refutal of it. Like he said, but it's like, who are you then? Who are the Satanists? You know, because this is what we see in the world, but it's like, who are those that gathered together under this philosophy? You know, because those are the ones that's running the show. Absolutely. And another thing that's the frequency thing. I'm a sound healer. I'm a musician myself, and in the industry. But the thing that's so interesting with the industry is that they don't play the frequencies they already try to fight you away from. Like even in the A&Rs and stuff like that, when producing music, the fact that they don't have live instruments, like the way they produce and record music is not the same anymore. Everything is really with frequency. Everything is frequency. And going back to like the Willie Lynch letter, the Willie Lynch letter said it's only one way that would reverse the whole thing, and that thing would be the mind. If the people wake up out of mental slavery, but they keep saying, yeah, you don't have to have shackles on, you don't have to be whipped anymore. I'm going to control your mind through frequency and vibration. That's an invisible fight, a guerrilla warfare.
On the human mind. Like
on the human mind.
But now, the thing is, it's funny because it's so much to this. There was a Japanese scientist who was studying water. Yep. And he would play different like music around the water. And he would freeze the water and look at the crystallization of the water. So if it was something positive, then the crystals would come out beautiful. Yeah. But then if it was that negative, heavy metal or that negative music, the crystals would be misshapen and messed up. So our bodies are made up of water. 70% of water that our body is made up of. So this stuff affects us. All right?
Can I say one last thing?
Go ahead.
It's about the DNA. So Shaitan worked for ages to execute what we see now, meaning the merging of the different people, the raping, the merging, the mixing of the DNAs, the mixing. Because when you tap in certain frequencies, it unlocks certain things in the DNA. So when he said get into this inner beast, this beast was repressed. It's a point in the DNA because DNA, the structure of DNA is similar to water. It holds memory. It's coded, and so the program codes the DNA and ways to pull out different things. So if we merge with people that were Neanderthals or whatever, that gene of a beast-like being from a merge in the DNA with these people will be activated through the sounds. And
I hear what you're saying, but you gotta
not in
remember.
that way, but
But you also have to remember what Allah tells us. Allah tells us that He has created us in different hues, right? And it's not about color. It's about righteousness. It's about your deeds. It's about what you do, how you live your life. It is this man's system. Remember, the first case of racism came from Shaitan.
Yes.
When he refused, his name was Iblis at the time, but then when he refused to bow down to Adam like Allah instructed him to, he was showing his rebellious side, then that's when he became Shaitan. Okay? Because he turned against Allah. But he said, what did he say? I'm not bowing to him. I'm better than him. I made a smokeless fire. He made a dirt or earth. Wow, I'm better than him. And this is the same thing that Shaitan is using against us. Okay? Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to say it's important to remember, too, that, you know, we are physical, spiritual, mental beings, right? And so what is programmed into us from the time we're babies to the time we're adults, often, and maybe not even until a person gets to adulthood, often determines what kind of human being we're going to be. Are we going to be a monster, or are we going to be a saint? You know what I mean? There's a continuum. There's something in the nurturing and the education and the training. There's something in the rearing of children and all of that, you know.
See, this thing is not rocket science. It's very simple. What we instill in our children, you know, if we instill righteousness in our children, the world is going to be a better place. But if we allow someone to instill negativity and unrighteousness in our children, we messed up. And that's what we're seeing that's happening. Like I said, our children are spending more time with the gadgets and the social media and television and all that stuff than they are with their parents. So how are we passing on our values to them? Okay? They're at school most of the day, right? They're indoctrinating them there, and then they come home, then they're on the YouTubes and all of that stuff, the Facebook, the social media, and all of that. But now, let me move on real quick. Let me see. Let me let you hear this guy's comment real quick. All right.
أنا أعتقد أن أوروبا الجديدة هي الشرق الأوسط.
So he's saying that the Middle East is going to be the New York. All right? They idolize, right? They idolize the West. Because Allah tells you in the Quran, He says, the life of this world is but amusement and play. And another word for entertainment is amusement and play. Okay? So Allah is telling us, this is the problem with us today as Muslims. So, like the sister said, they idolize the West. They idolize the West. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick because we talked about the program. I told you how important this programming thing is to what's going on. Okay? Well, here we go. I want you to see this news story.
It's new this morning at 4:30. More gunfire is capturing a busy night in the city, including the shooting death of a 16-year-old boy.
And that gunman remains on the loose right now. This shooting happened just before 10 o'clock in the 3700 block of South Albany. Police say a 16-year-old boy was shot to death in a drive-by. The victim's identity has not yet been released.
Meantime, 2 teenagers are wounded on the city's south side. It happened at East 74th as an 18-year-old man and 16-year-old girl were hit while standing on the sidewalk. The male's in good condition while the girl's expecting to recover. And kids on the street as young as 4 were there to see it all unfold. And
so there was a shooting. Kids as young as 4 on the streets. They interviewed us. All right. Here we go.
Had a disturbing reaction.
And he said that the little boy had a disturbing reaction. So if you've seen this before, we're gonna leave it to the people that haven't seen it. All right. So let's hear what the little boy said.
No, I'm not scared of nothing.
When you get older, you gonna stay away from all these guns?
No.
No?
No.
What do you want to do when you get older?
I'm gonna have me a gun.
Because I live right here.
And what the little boy said, 4 years old, he's gonna have him a gun. What do you think about that? The little boy hears about the shooting. He said, "Oh man, you gonna be scared?" He said, "No, I'm gonna have me a gun." Right? Any thoughts, anybody?
Well, that's the time.
Go ahead.
They do have a gun. Young boy.
The little boy is like,
They have a gun.
I mean, like 4. He was like, he's 4. He said, "Look, I get up big. I'm gonna have me a gun."
Yeah, because you be surprised.
Right.
Them kids there.
Okay.
The kids that struck me up years ago, they don't know more than what 12, 13, or 14 years old.
Okay.
They had guns.
Okay. So remember that. Yeah, and you remember the news anchor said, you know, we got these interviews, and you know, there were disturbing reactions, right? And now watch.
Here, and I don't want none of my family members to get shot.
That is very scary indeed. So far, no suspects are in custody.
Well, that's what I like to hear.
Now, here's the whole interview.
You ain't scared of nothing. Damn. When you get older, you gonna stay away from all these guns?
No.
No?
No.
What do you want to do when you get older?
I'm gonna have me a gun.
You are? Why you want to do that? You know what happens?
I'm gonna be the police.
Okay, well then you can.
You hear that? You see what they did?
I wanted to say something about that. Like, it's like the program will repeat his message all day.
Right. But look what happened.
Crazy.
They cut the interview.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to have a gun. The way they presented it at first is that he wanted to have a gun so he could be like he was going to be a thug.
Exactly.
But you see, they cut the interview, and what they showed to the public made him seem like that's what he was talking about. But then for the rest of the interview, you hear him say he wanted to be a cop. So they manipulate us. They control our perception of the world. So the thing is that you have to be very careful when you're watching the programming because they control your perception. Okay? I want you to, I'm going to let you hear a little bit more of this, okay? But then I want to show you something.
My first question is whether they had the parents' permission, of course. And then to hear that the boy aspires to be a police officer, and that's what he meant when he said, "I'm going to have me a gun," and that they didn't include that is disturbing. As somebody who's a former journalist, like many past presidents of the NAACP, it's important to tell the whole truth, because when you tell half the truth, you're in effect lying.
Right. So this media is powerful, y'all. It's so powerful. But now, I want you to hear this lady, this anchor. I I want you to hear what she says. Right in front of our face.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I hear. What Yamiche just said is what I hear.
Now, they were talking about Trump, okay? But I want you to hear what she says.
From all the Trump supporters that I talked to who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters, they go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah.
What she said? She said it's our job to control what people think. All right? So I'm telling you, when I say programming, it's a big part of what's going on. This is what they use as a weapon, okay? They use it to control your perception of reality, okay? Any thoughts?
Well, we're going to resume after the salat, inshallah, which we'll do in about 5 minutes. But I just want to make one comment with respect to the changing of the DNA. There is no such thing as changing the DNA.
I didn't say change. I was saying activate parts of it.
So what I'm saying is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in a certain way so that the DNA remains fundamentally the same from the time human beings came into existence until now, and it will be forevermore. What they do change is our mind. That's what he's talking about. The DNA basically consists of 4 basic sugars. There's adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. They remain fundamentally the same throughout each person's life. Yeah. And the only thing that differs between the races, according to latest scientific development, is that we are 99.9 something % the same. We only differ by 0.003%. We're somewhere around there. So human beings are only different by that amount. And as Allah says in the Quran, he has created us so that, and tribes and nations, not so that we would despise each other, so that we would get to know each other. Because if we're all the same, there's no driving force for the exchange in terms of the way we think and the way we act. As a result of these differences, it brings about a certain amount of curiosity, and that curiosity then leads to broadening our perspective and widening, our view on how things can be done. Whereas one people may eat or have food in a certain way, and other people in another way. And as a result of that, then that exchange, and it helps to foster the development of human being and commerce and so forth, and trade and everything else. But anyway, that's so much for that.
Well,
so we're talking about the mentality that's being manipulated so that people become monsters. That's what we're talking about.
I understand the consciousness, but I also didn't go deep into what I was saying because of time. But what I was stating is the mRNA, the coding within the DNA, certain things can be activated and triggered by sound frequency and vibration. And that, when you play with sound frequency vibration, can determine a person's behavior in their mind, in their thinking. It's a quicker way, but a subtle way to change human behavior. Yes. So I didn't get into the details and the science and the mechanics of it, but it shifts the consciousness of the being.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
The consciousness, right?
Yes.
Not the biology, but the mentality.
Great discussion.
But they're connected.
Great discussion. But we'll, I guess you want to pause.
We're going to pause for the greater cause. Pause for the greater cause.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to pause the video?
Yeah, we'll pause it too. I think I could pause it. I may just have to start it up again. Thank you.
Were you the presenter?